Good day. Welcome once again to Talk from the One. I'm afraid we don't have an improved situation from last time because our good friend Dilly is still gallivanting all over the world. Rumors have it now that he's has since left the Seychelles and is in Miami. When you think about the country, well, it's not in Miami, it's so right close to Miami, so it wasn't quite at the Grand Prix. So again, we're going to keep today's episode really short until we get our good old friend Dilly to join us again once he's back from his many travels. Right, Miami Grand Prix. It's mixed feelings. I've got to be honest with you. I was very hopeful that we will begin to get wider dynamics begin coming into play in F1 qualifying and indeed the race. And Sergio Perez winning the last race by really wide margin, 2+ seconds in Formula One is just unreal. Now, when you look at the points table as well, it's very close to Max, Verstappen. So there's a possibility that we could see a Perez, world champion in 23. So yes, those were my anxieties moving into Miami quali, and those anxieties become slightly more real when, of course, he put the car on pole at the Miami Grand Prix. Again, I was wondering what's going on, and then second to him was Fernando Alonso. Max was nowhere to be found. It's quite a funny, development when Max didn't. I don't know. Maybe he didn't do his final run for whatever reason, and we didn't see Max. We also didn't see Sir Lewis Hamilton. He did not qualify for the top 10 shootout, so we really don't know what happened there. But to be fair to Sir Lewis, if you look at the timings between all the drivers, they were no miles apart. They were all very close, very bunched up indeed. So it only takes a few seconds here and there, and you find yourself suddenly in the drop zone. Not that I'm making excuses for Lewis Hamilton, obviously, but I am making excuses for him. So yes, moving on to the race. Again, my anticipation from quali moved on to the race. I was almost boasting that we would see a Perez win, and if we were to see a Perez win, it would mean the championship gap between Perez and good old Max, continue to decrease. But that was not the case. Max came from way far behind, as we all know. He did an amazing job. He went through the field. It got to the point where obviously he overtook quite a lot of cars to get, behind, the contender, his teammate, Max Verstappen. Not Max, Sergio Perez. And lo and behold, I was expecting an intense, battle between the pair, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It was I think Max made little work of it, or should I say Perez did not defend desperately. Now, why didn't that happen? If we were to go back into 21-22 and what Perez did holding, Lewis Hamilton back, we know he could be a very, very desperate driver, and he does know how to hold people back. And if they're supposed to be in similar cars with similar power output, braking bias is roughly this. Well, I guess the braking bias will be determined by the driver, but the braking, ability of the car is the same. So why did Perez not defend aggressively as we know he can? And he just allowed Max to breeze through. Anyway, that said, Max put the car on pole by a decent margin. No, on pole, sorry, I keep saying pole. He put it on the podium, number one on the podium, by decent margin, nearly 6 seconds in F1. That is a respectable margin. And when you compare that this is a guy in the same car, teammate, he pretty much stamped his authority on the win. And who came second? One guess. Alonso. Who else? I mean, wow, did we write this guy off? Well, to be fair to him, I didn't write him off. I kind of welcomed it back. Dilly had a slightly more colorful opinion of him coming back to F1, and I think he's proved us all wrong. He's come back, and he's actually making his presence, felt in the field. So we need to give him credit for that. Now, moving into this race, there was quite a big match. Well, not a big match, in a reasonable margin started to develop between George Russell and Sir Lewis. Now, Russell getting on the podium, third place, would mean that that margin is beginning to disappear. So yeah, well done, George. What's Mercedes doing? Frankly speaking, I really, really don't know what Mercedes is doing. I watched Sir Lewis's performance. I think something in me tells me he's capable of doing a lot better than what we're seeing right now. It's a combination of man and machine. So, man, we know Sir Lewis is a good driver. Machine, we know that machine was suspect when we had issues with it bouncing up and down. A couple of, was it last year? I think Lewis had more problems with his car compared to Max. So maybe he ought to change his mechanics. Maybe what Toto Wolff should be like what he did with my friend, not to mention his name so as not to upset him, is to change mechanics in season. And everybody thought, oh my goodness, what's going on? Why would you take the mechanics of your number one driver away and give it to the other guy? I couldn't understand it. So we have to ask ourselves the question, not that we're saying that Toto is selective, but I think it'll be interesting if he were to put a stunt like that and suddenly take away George Russell's mechanics and give it to Lewis just to spice things up. So we shall see. Anyway, that's enough from me. I probably this was going to be really, really short. It's just to deposit my opinion and my wider feelings after watching the Miami Grand Prix. Thanks for staying tuned, and see you next time.